Rico is a textbook example of a garbage party member. And I do mean garbage, not bad, not terrible, garbage. Down there with the likes of the SNES version of FF6's Cyan. A lot of that's in part for two reasons. He provides no utility and his strengths are unremarkable. Like, yeah, it seems obvious his weaknesses are really weak and his strengths aren't that strong. Big discovery on how low tiers work, I know. But it's more important than just that description implies. For context, Billy is probably a contender for overall best party member in Xenogears. And it's because at the trade-off of bad survivability, he gets great offensive power and more importantly some of the best applicable utility in the game. Haste, full heals, shields, status cures, and a res are really useful. It's hard not to get some use from him even if he can't hit stuff at the moment. So even if his literal strengths isn't useful, he at least has something of value to fall back on. Rico does not do this. He has zero utility to him. He has no healing, his buffs were poor and only helped him, if they even worked. He cannot multi-target anyone, he has no status conditions to inflict. He is just a beatstick. Which, that alone, is not a bad thing. You cannot build a party of skill monkeys in any RPG. You need at least one guy whose job is just hits really hard. However, Rico doesn't even do that part right. He barely has stats on par with Faye when he joins, with the exception of his HP and speed, which are significantly worse than Faye. This is generally why it's much worse than it initially sounds. If he has one job, being to hit stuff, he should be really good at that. But he's not good at that, meaning he literally provides zero value to a party on foot. As such, he's been adjusted to be the premier option for a fighter in the party. A lot of these ideas actually take inspiration from Ziggy in Xenosaga, particularly Saga 1. In Saga 1, Ziggy is the weakest party member, sure, but he's generally pretty close to being fine as is. He was just 1 point of speed off of being fine, as he was just on the threshold of being able to hurt people consistently and keep up with the party. And in a game that doesn't have speed boost as something you can steal from him and give to another party member, that would be an insane asset for him to have that would set him apart. So that was the plan for Rico. Give him a point of agility so he's still the big slow heavy hitter of the group, it's just a much more workable weakness to have. Besides patching up Rico's speed so it's less generally atrocious, a lot of changes to Rico were to help enforce his idea as the tank of the group. A role that 1. Wasn't really fulfilled that well in Xenogears, and 2. Especially wasn't fulfilled at all by Rico. The first way of helping with that is adjusting his power. Rico can only hit things. He should be able to hit them pretty hard, especially considering how much slower he is. He gets up to bat way less often than the other party members, meaning every time he does get a hit in, it's even more important that it hits hard to validate being put on the team. I like referring to this problem as Kongol syndrome. Kongol is a party member in Legends of Dragoon who hits about twice as hard as the average party member. Unfortunately, he's half as fast. This means the math doesn't work out in Kongol's favor. He basically does the same amount of damage anyways, except he can't do anything useful. In Perfect Works, the sewers are a great showcase of this philosophy. If Faye and Seitan team up to fight an enemy without using death blows, they'll need to work together in order to kill one enemy. But they'll get a turn in before Rico, and will obviously be able to get in more turns overall than Rico. The trade-off is Rico can handle any enemy by himself. Rico wasn't even that bulky in the original Xenogears. He joins with less HP than Faye and defends on par with him. Nothing about his design other than his appearance indicates that yeah, this character can take abuse. Obviously this was adjusted with much higher HP and defense, so that way he can take a lot more abuse. This makes him a lot more valuable as a party member as you don't have to babysit him as often to keep him alive. It also doesn't betray how his boss fight goes, where he can take absolutely no damage from Faye and demolish him in one hit. Lastly, there's been adjustments to Rico's gear. Steer is a pretty good gear until you get Sabesen, which completely invalidates it. It has the same general idea of the big, bulky, heavy hitter, except Sabesen can also attack with ether moves. Full party ether moves, no less. Steer is a single target attacker, and that is it. To help differentiate the two, Steer's been given a point of agility and much higher attack power. This makes Steer much better in direct 1v1 scenarios as it costs less to use its offense and it gets it out quicker, while Sabesen still has the ether moves to be able to hit crowds. Overall, this should help Rico be the workhorse of the party. He's not quick or flashy, but he gets the job done. His durability will allow him to survive just about anything, which is good because he won't be doing anything fast. With proper support, Rico can focus on simply having the highest damage output of all the party members, while also not being at any risk of dying anytime soon. This shifts his weakness from generally being bad at everything to his lack of utility, as his only way of helping the team is being the guy who can beat people to death with his bare hands the quickest.